So guys, have you always wanted that intense, overdriven, modded Marshall tone that just makes your guitar cut through and demand attention? But maybe your amplifier just doesn't have what it takes? Well, then listen to this. Okay guys, so this is the Bootlegger Zapped Up Yours Tube Distortion pedal. This thing is really cool, and you guys might actually remember a while back I did a review of this guitar right here, and this is the Bootlegger Royal guitar. It's a really cool guitar, and when I was originally checking this out and I went down and I met the owner of Bootlegger Guitars, he also told me about this pedal that he had, which seemed really cool at the time, and he offered to let me check it out, and so here I am. So simply put, this is a distortion slash overdrive pedal, but it has a real analog tube circuit in it, and this is actually a Russian-made Electro-Harmonix 1287 tube. You can see it right in there. And I've been messing around with this thing for a while, and there's several different ways which you can use this pedal that I'm going to tell you about in the video, but I think one of the coolest things about this is that this is the perfect pedal to sort of rescue or salvage an otherwise lackluster amplifier. Maybe you've got an amplifier that has a great clean tone, but it just either doesn't really have a high gain channel or doesn't have one that sounds very good. This is the kind of pedal where you can put this on a completely clean amplifier and just get an awesome sounding distortion tone. Okay, so let's look at the controls here. So we've got pretty standard controls. Level over here, the distortion or the gain control on this side. In the middle here, we've got three different EQ controls, treble, middle, bass, as you would expect. But then over here, we have a mid-frequency control. And this control kind of works along with your middle EQ control. So you can sort of use the middle frequency control to kind of shape like what mid-range range, if you know what I mean, the mid-range EQ actually boosts or cuts. Anyway, you'll hear it when I get into the demo, but you can get a pretty wide variety of tones out of this pedal. Like, these are pretty aggressive EQ controls. Now, this pedal comes with its own power supply, and that's because this pedal runs at 15 volts instead of 9. And it's got these vents on the side here next to where the tube is, and you can actually feel the heat coming out of this thing when it's on. It's not enough to like roast a marshmallow, but it's maybe enough to keep your feet warm. So let me tell you about the different ways you can use this pedal, and then we'll get into the demo and you can hear what I'm talking about, you know, when you hear the actual demo. So there are basically three different ways that I would recommend using this pedal. First of all is, like I was talking about earlier, you have a just basic, very simple, clean sound on an amplifier. It could be a very simple amplifier, and you just plug this directly in front of the amplifier into the input, and you get all of your gain from this pedal right here. So you have the amplifier set up as clean as possible, then you get all your tone and gain from here. Now, that's going to give you a great sound that you're going to be able to get the same sound every single time, because most of the tone and pretty much all the gain is going to be coming from this pedal. But another way you can use it is where you set your amplifier up where the amplifier already has a little bit of gain on it. And then you're basically cranking up the level control on this pedal and probably backing the gain down on the pedal. And what that does is you're basically now boosting the amplifier with this pedal. And so by having the level all the way up, you're putting a really, really strong signal into the front end of the amplifier. So that's going to give you some nice compression and saturation. It gives you those really sort of smooth, creamy, overdriven tones. But you still have all of the different EQ controls here, which will really let you fine-tune and shape that tone. Okay, now the third way you can use this pedal, and this is maybe the coolest, is you can use this pedal because it has such a powerful sound on its own, and because it has all of the EQ controls, you can use this pedal to completely bypass the preamp section in your amplifier. And you can do this with amplifiers that have an effects loop. Now, if you use the pedal this way, here's how you hook it up. You plug your guitar into the front of this pedal. Then you plug the output of this pedal into the effects return on the amplifier. So you're never actually plugging anything into the front of the amplifier. You're only plugging into the effects return. Now, all of the EQ controls and so forth on the amplifier won't function. They're not going to do anything because all of the control is going to be coming from the pedal. And several videos back, I talked about that technique with a different pedal where you're basically bypassing the preamp of your amplifier by plugging into the effects return. And there were a lot of people in the comments who were not familiar with that. It was like, well, how can you do that? You know, how can you not plug anything into the front of the amp? But no, that's absolutely true. You can do that. When you have an amplifier that has an effects loop and you're using the effects return, you're basically only using the power amp section of the amplifier. And whatever pedal you plug into that, or effects processor or whatever, that becomes the preamp. Okay guys, so now let me give you some sounds that we can get out of this pedal. And for the demo, I'm going to go ahead and use the Bootlegger guitar because, I mean, this is a fun guitar to play, but it also has a lot of different pickup options, as you can see, including some coil splitting options so we can hear how that pedal works with both humbucker and single coil setups. Okay, now real quick guys, if you enjoy videos like this and you have not already subscribed, if you want to see more videos about guitars and cool gear and especially affordable stuff, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, let's plug everything in and listen to how it sounds. Okay guys, so first things first, I mean this pedal, just the sound that you can just so easily get out of this pedal is fantastic. You know, some pedals and some rigs and setups, you can get a fantastic sound out of them, but you really have to spend some time tweaking them and everything. You know, to start with, I just put everything, all the controls right at 12 o'clock. You hit the go button and the pedal just sounds awesome. It's like I said in the beginning, it's a great sort of like overdriven, modded Marshall tone, you know, like a modded JCM 800 or something like that. Now, one thing that really impressed me about this pedal is how quiet it is in terms of background noise. Sometimes old school analog pedals are pretty bad when it comes to interference and picking up extra noise and adding that into your signal, but I wasn't hearing anything bad from this. The other thing that's really cool about this pedal is that the pedal responds very nicely to the input to the pedal. So if you are using like a pretty high distortion setting, but then you back down the control, the volume control on your guitar, you'll notice a big change in the tone and the amount of gain that comes out of the pedal. And the same thing goes for the different pickups that you're using. And that's one characteristic of tube circuits that digital or solid state units usually can't quite get. Okay, let's talk about the price now. This pedal here goes for around $190, which for a pedal like this, where it's a tube-based pedal, that's a very good price. Also, I believe they offer some aesthetic customization on these pedals, so you can actually change the color of the knobs when you order one of these, so you can match your guitar or maybe your outfit or your hair. But even if you just go with classic black like I did, I mean, this is just a pedal that's hard to screw up with. It's the kind of pedal that makes it very, very easy to get a great tone. The tone actually reminds me of like the tone that Akira Takasaki has from Loudness, where it's just got that super powerful mid-range, but still very, has a lot of expression and emotion to it. And he's using like super expensive amplifiers. I think he's using like a Friedman or something like that. And the idea that I can get a similar tone from a pedal that costs less than $200, I love that. Alright guys, so let me know what you thought of that pedal down in the comment section below. And if anybody out there has used any other tube-based pedals, I'd love to hear what you thought of that stuff, what you think of tube-based pedals in general as well. Okay guys, I'm going to have links down in the video description below for the pedal and the guitar. And a big shout out to Bootlegger Guitars for letting me check out that pedal. It's really, really cool. I will also have links down there for my new instructional program and all of my social media stuff. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you soon.